Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description.
Now you have Trump going, okay, look at Nvidia. He's suddenly the Trump that everybody knows and loves and wanted for the stock market. He's making deals with the Saudis. Now, oh, don't worry about it. You can't sell chips to China, but you can sell a whole bunch to the Saudis.
Yeah, so this is not a comfortable thing, by the way. He's just doing a deal with the devil, but it is absolutely a headline that bids up Nvidia. Now, luckily, this is when you're talking about Nvidia. This was had gorgeous. I had these $10 increments. We're going to go from 96 to 106. We got to work that out. 106 to 116. That's the next $10 phase higher. I keep talking about this all the time. We've got to get above 116 to make it into 126. And now that 126 to 136, which was my high call into Nvidia earnings for the 28th of May, it's going to be there a lot faster than because of what's happened this weekend. But normally it's a grind. We grind up into that next level, and then earnings for Nvidia, granted, they're going to make their numbers because they've got an AI modified chip for China. They're doing backdoor deals with Malaysia to get to China, which, by the way, I have written about for clients. It's unprecedented billions. Their sales in the US are completely flat in 2024 and starting to fall, but they now have Saudi Arabia opportunities and funds, and AMD is benefiting from it as well. And AMD not only is doing a deal with Nvidia, with the Saudis, but also a $6 billion buyback that they announced today. So of course semis are getting the bid. The growth rotation is fully in view until it isn't, until the next macro trigger interrupts the bullish flows. It could be a yen carry trade unwind. It could be a basis trade unwind. It could be rising yields. We already have rising real yields. This bill that they're trying to pass is an absolute nightmare for Main Street. It is absolutely benefiting Wall Street. So as much as they talk about it, it's watch what they do, not what they say. So we are not out of the woods as it relates to falling dollar. I don't mean this week. I'm talking big picture. And that also hides the damage that's going on because it's falling and it makes equities look higher, which is exactly trapping the bulls. And we've been here before. We're not going to learn our lesson. We're going to do it again. But anyway, I think this is still, the road is definitely not clear path for higher. I absolutely see reaching up into that right shoulder on a head and shoulder and rolling over into the end of the year still.
Oh, well, that's fascinating. So, well, we're going to get our chance, right? We've got the VIX down into the 17s. I think to your question earlier, I think we could get into the 15s. I think there's some unwinding. I'm looking at this and saying, well, okay, like I said last week, we're always, as volatility traders, we're always kind of looking for what's that next shoe to drop. And if it isn't going to drop for the next couple of weeks, then there's some opportunities in the meantime, and you want to set up for that particular eventuality. So what is it going to be? For now, it's just crushing the volatility. People expecting that. Look at this, seeing so many fund managers being offside. This is the market of offsidedness. So many people are not in here. Look at the Russell was just massively shorted. So people are back into that, which I don't think is necessarily a fantastic investment. You can see it's playing out in so many places where people thought this is going to, remember, there were some studies going around, well, the average negotiation takes 6 to 8 or 9, 10 months or whatever it is, and then boom, in one weekend, it's done. So it's really, it's a shock to the upside as much as it was to the downside and for the markets, from the market's perspective. So, that I think it can take a little bit of time to play out because so many people are not involved and maybe start to look at this and go, boy, this is going to be a tough year if I perform about half as well as the index. VIX is back to that structure that is a little bit more challenging for those kinds of trades, a little bit more positive for the SVIXs, the SVXYs. So from a perspective that it's weird because just as one thing is sorting itself out, another one is starting to hurt those products. So yes, the VIX has come down from 50 to 20 or 19, but at the same time, the structure, that roll yield structure is hurting the short VIX products right now. So what they need is really something very worrisome to get back to, the point where we're going to get those long vol trades doing well again. Right now, they don't have that sort of pull of gravity that they had for weeks and weeks. They were very reactive to sell-off. Right now, they won't be as reactive. Having said that, we have some interesting opportunities. We're seeing that downside skew. So we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. They are ignoring the upside and focusing fully on the downside. That downside put skew, everybody was buying puts like there was no tomorrow. And and completely forgetting about that upside. That has played out. So we're seeing that regulate a little bit.
Yes,
meaning
we needed that 57.50. It was critical. I said once we get above 57.50, it will move very quickly higher. What I didn't know was we were going to gap up Sunday night, and I think we hit whatever it is. Anyway, we're up 200 points, right, from the Friday close. So it did not even tag 57.50. It gapped above that and just went Monday, Tuesday. That's actually a really good level to short against. So once we stop, and right now I still have my intermarket, it's bouncing into resistance was the title a few weeks ago. And then it was bouncing in the resistance part 2 because it's still bouncing. And then it's bouncing into resistance part 3. We're still bouncing. So now we actually got above, right, that key level, that shock and awe as far as the growth rotation, but it's not really. VIX crashed below 20. So if you're looking for a nice level to go short the market, wait until VIX gets back above 20, because that's the level where I see it.
Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description. Watch the full Options Macro to Micro Power Hour episode by clicking on the video here, and subscribe to LaDucTrading YouTube channel for more content.